Hello, everyone. It's Mya here, and you are watching The Gunther Show.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Gunther Show. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, like and share this video. I would greatly appreciate it. If you grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s like I did, this woman needs no introduction. We all know her. Without any further ado, the Gunther Show welcomes the legend, Miss Mya. How you doing today?
I'm great, Chris. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you so much for taking this time out. Here you are in Detroit, literally getting ready for a show tonight. How's the atmosphere? And love the makeup, because I can't pull none of that off. Like, I can't do it, so yeah, but like, tell me about the atmosphere, how's everything going so far?
Everything is great, I actually got my makeup done by a Detroit makeup artist locally today. She pulled up and slid through. Nina. Hey, Nina. So yes, I have my stage makeup on right now, getting ready for sound check. That's next. And then we get into the steaming, the ironing, the sewing of things and all of that. So yeah, the atmosphere is great. We just landed and kind of came straight here.
Yeah, man, hearing you just say that you landed, because I know, at least from what I've been told, you didn't really like flying for the longest time, correct?
Oh no, I've always liked flying since I was 2, but it's a metaphor for my sophomore album, Fear of Flying. It has to do with life, and not getting, I would say, ahead of yourself or attached to things that lift you up off the ground and temporary highs or superficial things. So there's a lot of metaphors pertaining to that title. It has nothing to do with flying on planes. I actually jump out of planes.
That's something that sounds kind of fun to do, especially in 2025, but got to be a little careful. There's a lot of stuff going on. You've been in this industry for so long. The ups, the downs. What has been the key to your longevity?
Well, I love what I do, very much like my dad, who's a performer, and he still performs to this day. So I think passion and love of music has always been the constant when I was a kid in elementary school, high school, through the hallways. Music is very special. It's powerful. It's therapy for free.
It sure is.
And it's a lot of fun as well, especially the synergy between musicians or musician producers and other songwriters, or even your friends. It's an outlet to be able to create and let it all out.
Amen to that. Speaking about fun, fresh off of the BET 25 celebration, you had played such a tremendous factor with all of that. I understand, it was the BET Awards and things of that nature, but you can't talk about that without bringing up Mya. Can you just take me back through a little bit of just how exciting of a moment that was for you?
BET Awards. Wow. We had only 2 days to prepare. I literally flew in from Europe, Italy, and landed into rehearsals. And we had 2 days to get it together, right? But I was very excited because it was the 25th anniversary of the awards, but also 106 in Park. And I believe, and I was told, that I was the very first female guest on 106 in Park in 2003. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, yes, what a way to, first of all, count 25 years, because it's flown by. But also, BET is where I got my first start on Teen Summit. Rest in peace to Ananda, who was one of the hosts with Prince Dejour back in 97 when I was a posse member, but also a dance posse member. And that show was amazing for teenagers as far as what was going on in the world and in our own backyards, in our communities. So empowerment and Black excellence, and I learned a lot behind the camera, on camera. I was a dance freestyler during that time, and it was a good time. So BET in general is a full circle moment for me 25 plus years ago.
We just appreciate you for being somebody who has represented excellence in so many things that you've done in the camera, on camera, and behind the scenes, and just to see you continue to thrive and elevate, it's incredible. you actually are now independent with Planet 9. Can you hit on that just a little bit for us?
Yes, I've been independent since the end of 2007, and I've put out 9 independent projects on Planet 9. And my 10th studio project on Planet 9 is coming this year, which also makes my 10th studio album overall and 15th studio project in general of my career, including the major label projects. So I'm really excited. I love the good vibes on this upcoming project without giving up too much information, but Face to Face was my very first single this year. And it's a deep dive, conversation with self, alignment. And then I like to call it a spiritual flex, going within to really have that conversation on what you know you need to do. Sometimes silence, unplug, dip off, just you, so you can get in touch with you and do the work. And then, the projection of after all the work is done, it's about to be a flex. So you kind of flex on the song as well. Face to face, that's what that is all about. Getting yourself together and getting right. But it's also spiritual as well. Now, on the fun side of things, because we are just entering summer,
thank God, because I hate the winter.
Yes, me too. Give It To You is a real funky type of jam, late 70s, early 80s vibes. Sounds like my living room when I grew up. Heavy on the influences of Prince and Mary Jane Girls, Rick James a little bit, the Minneapolis sound, Jam and Lewis. And so I had to get into my 80s bag on that one. And it's fun. It makes you want to roller skate, have fun, barbecue, all that.
Barbecue sounds so great, especially this time of year. The weather's warming up, go swimming and all that good stuff. As we transition out here, we thank you so much for your time. What would be the best piece of advice that you would give to the next generation on the come up, particularly those young girls that look like you?
Well, be yourself, Don't be afraid to try new things. As a young gentleman or a young lady in this world, I think obviously discipline is key to just staying ahead of the curve, and then also self-preservation. But you got to have fun along the way, and then set fear aside. Set fear aside so that you can step into any arena knowing nothing, right?
Right.
And being willing to learn everything. It will take you a long way if you can put your pride aside and listen to those that have stepped or walked in the shoes of. And I think it's really important to have a mentor to hold your hand in life, or those that have, like I said, walk the walk. It'll save you some time. It'll save you some money.
Yes, it will.
Probably mistakes and heartache, but mistakes are great as well, because those are the greatest lessons in life. So I don't really have all of the advice in the world, and I could write a book on it, but I think fun is key while you're young. I think young people are so quick to want to be adults so fast. It's going to go by so fast.
Yeah, it definitely
Stay
will.
young.
Yeah, it will.
Stay having your fun responsibly, right? And think about the future as well while you're having that fun. But life is supposed to be joyful. If it's not fun to you, it's okay to change course. And then people always ask me what I would say to my younger self, and I would just say, define everything. Understand why you're always doing what you're doing. What is it? What is your why behind what you're doing? Is it because of other people or the perception of others, what you want other people to think about you? Or is it because you really love that, whatever it is? So define beauty, define success, define happiness, because it looks different for everybody. You don't want to be following somebody else's definition and then 20 years go by. You got to define that for you, and it takes some time to do that. So
100%. But thank you for elaborating so much. Appreciate you so much for your time. Before we get out of here, if anybody wanted to connect with you and things of that nature, how can they do that?
You can connect with me at Mya Planet 9 on social media, but also myamya.com is where all the tour dates, new music, etc., are. And keep God first as well.